This is a Ranger guide for Dark and Darker. I'm going to show you everything you need to know to get started with the Ranger and to be successful in this game with them. The first thing we're going to do is go to our class, look at perks and skills. And I'm going to go through all the perks and skills to tell you what you should and shouldn't try, or different combinations of things that you could play with depending on which way you want to play the game. Okay, so there's kind of like 3 ways to play a Ranger. There's playing like a rat to get money and just killing whatever you can and just trying to like farm wealth basically, and just being consistent. There's playing like a really consistent ranged battle type of rogue who is not the best to be when someone comes up on you and someone gets close. And then there's a way you can play where when people get close, you can actually defend yourself at the cost of not being quite as effective at range. So really quick, let's go through some of these things. So first off, one little oddball thing I want to get through at the beginning is this thing, crossbow mastery. So Rangers can use all the bows, including the crossbow, but the crossbow is generally terrible. And the reason it's terrible is because the reload is absolutely terrible. But if you do manage to hit a headshot with a crossbow, the amount of damage it does is immense. Like you can, with a good crossbow, you can just one-shot people with a headshot a lot of the time. It's crazy how much damage it does. So crossbow mastery will reduce the reload speed by 50% and let you move 50% less slow or whatever when reloading the crossbow. So if you are going to be crazy and try to use a crossbow, crossbow mastery is a must-have. But yeah, basically the play with the crossbow is you have one and it's already loaded. And at the start of a fight, you pull it out and take one shot. Realistically, you could kind of do that by putting a crossbow on your second slot and then using it and then just swapping to your bow. And then whenever you're not in a fight, that actually could be a viable thing you could do. You could play with that if you want to. Anyway, so that's crossbow mastery. Most people won't be using crossbows though. So I just want to make sure you are aware of that situation. So enhanced hearing, this is when you want to play as a rat. This is really good because you can hear footsteps from even further away. Although if you play a lot of other classes, it can kind of mess with your head though, because it can like mess up your because once you play long enough, you know how far away someone is based on the sound, and then this could kind of screw with that. But if you got used to it, it definitely makes it easier because then you can hear them before they hear you, and then you can get in a position to stop moving and get ready or whatever, do whatever you're gonna do, or go the other way if you want to play like a rat. So that's like a must-have as a rat if you get used to it. Then we have this one. And it makes it so when the bowstring is drawn, you move 10% faster because you move slower when your bow is drawn. And this reduces that by 10%. So you still move slower, but just less slower. This is good if you want to play a more aggressive Ranger because it allows you to corner peek a little more effectively while still holding the bow and stuff. In a Ranger on Ranger battle, this is really nice when you're both peeking corners. It makes it a little bit more likely for you to get the shot in without getting shot. So it's just variable. We'll get back to it. Nimble hand. So when you're using a bow, change your default shooting animation so it shoots 15% faster. Now, most people are going to want this, unless you're using the crossbows only or some crazy crossbow spear or something insane. Most people want nimble hands. It's like a must-have when you can. Generally, you'll make room for it no matter what because you just shoot 15% faster. It's pretty massive. Okay. Well, mainly the shooting animation. It's probably not exactly 15% faster. Anyway, but it's faster. So then we got ranged weapons expert. It increases physical attack by 5% attacking with a ranged weapon. If you can, you just get it. You just do more damage. It's nice. Sharpshooter. Headshot damage increases by 15% when attacking with a long range weapon. This one is really good when you get headshots from far away, but it's, I don't know. It's good if you headshot from far away. I never actually really tested if it's specifically with the longbow or any bow from a distance, but assuming you're using a longbow and shooting from far away, this can actually be insane because if you just start a fight with a random headshot and you have this, you're going to hit someone for like over half their health to start the fight. So it can be good as like an assassin. It's definitely good as a rat type Ranger where you're just trying to get loot and get out because you can just do it to maximize your DPS from a range when you're surprising people. Spear proficiency. This one's hilarious and interesting, and it's going to go into that build I talked about later. I'll talk about in a minute about if you're playing more aggressive so you're not as vulnerable in melee combat. Is you get spear proficiency, and then you can have a spear in your second hand, and that'll allow you to actually defend yourself. And if your opponent only has short-range weapons, you can actually kite them while stabbing at them with a spear pretty well. So, you know, if a rogue has too much armor on, is too slow, and can't just run at you and swing, you could spear at him some or something, or, you know, depending on who you're fighting. Also, it makes it so if you're more comfortable with clearing mobs as a melee, it makes it easier to clear mobs because the spear has such a good range. that you can just stab at goblins and skeletons in their head and stuff. Spear's pretty good, actually. It's not totally terrible, but it's basically if you want to not be totally vulnerable in melee combat as a rogue. But there's another option we'll get to in a second. Anyway, there's tracking. This detects recent enemy footsteps. It's just a fun thing to have. If you're going to play like a rat, it's a fun thing to have because then you can know if someone's been through an area or someone's been somewhere recently. And it just helps you to be more aware and not get caught off guard and be able to be the one to ambush people instead of the one getting ambushed. But other than that, in really aggressive builds, well, if you're playing really aggressive, it could be good too. It makes it easier to find people and chase them down. So if you're being really aggressive and your goal is to just kill people as fast as possible, or if you're playing in a team, it's actually decent because then you know where they went. You see open doors everywhere. You don't know which door they went through. You see the footsteps. You know which door they went through. And then you can just chase them down and it's actually really good if you're playing super aggressive in a team and just hunting people. Trap Expert is really good as a solo and good as a rat. It dramatically decreases the installation time of traps. And traps are really good for screwing people over where you go through a door because Ranger has good resourcefulness, so they open doors fast, just like rogues. So you open a door, you go through, immediately turn around, put a trap on the door, back up, get your abilities ready, they come through, they step in the trap, and then you start headshotting them till they're dead. As a solo, it creates a lot of opportunities that you will then be able to act upon in order to get easy kills. So definitely good. I've seen so many solo Rangers, and they have like 9 traps in their inventory, and I was like, I know what they were up to. But that's definitely an option. We'll go back through perks for the specific builds, but I just want to give you some basics about each one real fast, and let's look at the skills real fast, and then we'll kind of go through the 3 kind of builds I'm thinking here. All right, so skills. One of the best ones as a beginner is Field Ration. This one lets you recover some HP, and it just makes it easier to stay alive. As a beginner or as a rat, it's always a nice thing, so you can hang out in the plague a little bit and stuff, and then heal up some. It has limited uses, though, so be careful with that. But it is really nice. And then combo with the fact that Rangers by default start at the campfire, it makes Rangers one of the most sustainable classes other than the Cleric. So it's really good for solo and rat play. That's why Rangers one of the best classes to play as a solo is because of Field Rations and starting the campfire. You can just go with no gear, but then you can just hang out and be a rat and hang out in the plague if you need to and not immediately die. And then we got these other ones, and let me go through each one of these because there's some stuff you need to know. Now, multi-shot is actually busted. It's so strong, but there's a catch. If you're not point blank, it's useless. It's literally something you do as a way to defend yourself from a melee attacker. Let me show you a clip real fast of it. So like when a barbarian is pushing on you, if you pull out your multi-shot and then right when they go to swing, you just walk up and point, just like unleash all 5 of them into their chest. Depending on how good your bow is, how much HP they have, what armor they have, you can just one-shot someone. But the catch is, if you're outside of melee, it basically does absolutely nothing. So that one goes for people who are playing super aggressive, and also if you want to cheese people. And it's honestly really fun. And it's also really good for mob clear. Like, you just have, like, some random skeleton on you, and you just make him swing, and then pull out your multi-shot, shoot all 5 shots into his head. If you have a good bow, it'll just kill his, Skelly instantly or something. So it's actually really fun to use. Next up is Quickfire. Now, this is actually really good if you are a very experienced ranger and you don't need the field rations anymore, but you don't want to get close. You're playing as the ranger, doesn't get close, but you want to do more DPS. This makes it over 8 seconds. You basically just fire twice as fast. So just increase your DPS by twice as much if you can hit all your shots. So yeah, it's good. It's definitely a good one. It's definitely viable to throw Quickfire on. Quick Shot is one of Rangers' favorite ones. Most Rangers I know use Quick Shot. Almost everybody uses Quick Shot. So you hold 3 arrows in your hand and you fire them quickly. So it just lets you go 1, 2, 3 arrows, but be able to aim all them actually. Because unlike multi-shot, this one you can aim each arrow. It's just you fire 1, 2, 3. Where multi-shot grabs 5 and they all shoot at once in like a wide angle spread. So unless you're point blank, you're not hitting anything basically. So that is the bread and butter. Everybody should get Quick Shot generally, but you don't have to. You can do this some other ways, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But standard build, always Quick Shot, always. True Shot. I don't know if many people who actually end up getting this, but what it does is it makes it so when you activate it, your projectiles shoot faster, like the projectile goes faster through the air, which can make it a lot easier to actually land shots because, I mean, you're still not a hit scan if you know what that means, but, you're getting closer to it. Your projectile speed goes up. It definitely has potential to be useful, but I'll leave that one up to you guys. I'll keep this to some more of the standard stuff, but that one can be useful for sure, especially at longer ranges. If you're going to be a sniper, if you're going to use a longbow, shoot people from like across big rooms, then True Shot would actually be really nice because then you don't have to like read them like 4 seconds ahead of time because of the slow projectile speed. So it definitely can be good. There probably are a lot of people that use it. I just haven't played with it a ton myself. But yeah, definitely can be useful, especially at long ranges. All right, so let's go back over these now, and let's talk about these different builds. So let's do the hiding build and getting money, and then we're gonna go to the standard like all-around ranger build, and then we're gonna go to like the cracked out crazy ranger who's not afraid of melee combat and stuff like that. All right, so as one who hides, you could do the crossbow mastery thing I talked about, although I've never actually tested if you can throw the crossbow on the second slot and use it. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to, but yeah, you could do the thing having a crossbow in the second hand and then have it ready. You take one shot like that and then whatever, run for your life and then reload a crossbow or something, whatever. But that's silliness if you actually want to do that. But you could make it work. You could probably make it your own style, you know. But realistically, it's going to be enhanced hearing, though, is like a guaranteed. You're going to want enhanced hearing. And then another thing that you're really going to want is you're still going to want nimble hands, because even as a solo, like just playing like a rat, you still got to clear mobs. So just being able to shoot faster means more DPS, means clears mob faster. It means clearing mobs faster. You could get this, just do more damage, clear mobs faster. And then you could also get sharpshooter to clear mobs faster at longer range, depending on the room. But really, enhanced hearing and nimble hands are like the most important ones here. And then tracking is also huge as a rat, so that you can know where everyone's at. And then trap expert's also massive as a rat, because you can just trap doors and put traps down so fast. So the most standard, easiest way to play as a rat and just get money is going to be enhanced hearing, either nimble hands or ranged weapons expert, probably nimble hands, and then tracking and trap expert. Now, you could swap one of these. If you don't like one of these, you could swap it out. If you decide tracking's useless for you, then you could instead use a spear or get headshot damage or move faster with the bowstring, right? You could swap one of these out or whatever. But these four are the most important ones, and the last one you can just make a choice depending on if you do or don't want something. And then again, as a rat, you're going to want field rations, and then probably quick shot, unless you really know what you're doing. Quick shot's gonna be your standard, just like defend yourself pretty effectively kind of ability. Okay, so next, let's move up in the world to, you've played the game, you're actually looking to kill people. You're not looking to be the most aggressive human being on this planet, but you're looking to play a standard ranger, get a bunch of kills, be consistent, or play in a team and, just be a good ranger and do your job. All right, well, in that case, I mean, there's still the crazy crossbow mastery thing. That'd be hilarious to do, but that's like a niche thing if you want to do that. Otherwise, what you're going to do is, if you're team play, you can get enhanced hearing so that you can hear enemies from further away to alert your team to enemies. You can hear something, you're like, guys, I hear something. You're like freaking Legolas from Lord of the Rings with enhanced senses. You can see like 100 miles away, right? Like that thing. You can just hear someone far away, tell your team in team play. If you're not on team play, it's whatever if you're playing a standard one. I mean, still a nice ability. It really is just a nice ability, though, if you get used to it. But it's optional. So then... this one is pretty good. I don't know how to say it, kinesthesia, just because it allows you to be a little bit more effective on corner peeking. It's a good one. Nimble hands is good, and then the ranged weapons expert for more damage is good. And then it's really, if you're playing a standard one, it's like a lot of these you can swap out a lot. The most important ones: nimble hands, ranged weapon expert. Those are probably the most important. Just increase your DPS, and then if you find yourself find a long range a lot, sharpshooter. Otherwise, it's just too much variability. I mean, really, like standard ranger build, it's like just get these two, nimble hands and ranged weapons expert, and then play with the other ones and decide which ones you like for your play style. Like, you can be the guy who traps the doors constantly, or you can be the guy who tracks people for your team. If you're playing a team, tracking's going to be good. If you're playing solo and you're just playing standard, maybe it won't be as important to you. It depends on how you play. Maybe you decide you like the spear. So really, it's just going to be, the other two are really going to be up to you. If I had to pick three for you, though, it'd be ranged weapons expert, enhanced hearing, and nimble hands. And then the last one, whichever one you want, depending on which way you play. Rangers have a lot of options. Then for standard ranger build, as far as skills, if you're newer, you go field ration and quick shot. If you're more experienced and have money and you're going with potions and things, or if you're playing with a cleric who can heal you, then field rations are not as important, and you can get quick shot, and you can also get quick fire in order to get crazy DPS. So use quick shot, and then afterwards use quick fire and just keep firing in order to be really fast, get heavy DPS while your team's fighting the enemy. Or if you want to be crazy, you can get the multi-shot, and when someone gets point blank on you, you shoot 5 arrows in their chest. But generally, quick shot and quick fire, or quick shot and multi-shot. Or for some reason you think you're fighting at really long range, is true shot. But generally, those ones. And field ration if you're new, or if you're playing in a team that has no healer and you don't have money to buy a bunch of potions and things. So that's kind of the standard way. Quick shot plus one of these, or quick shot plus field ration normally. Then we get to, like, what are the crazy outlier ways, right? All right, so, again, there's always a crossbow option. It's just hilarious to do. You only get one shot, but you better make it count. But realistically, if you're playing a more aggressive, like, kind of crazy build, what you can do then is you can get... Oh, before I go on, sharpshooter in the standard build's actually really good. I don't know why I glossed over. I wasn't fully thinking about that one. Just a quick throwback. Sorry. Anyway, now moving on to the crazy build. Nimble hands is good. Ranged weapon expert's good. Sharpshooter is good. It's always good. The perks are also like similar a lot of the time. And then it's up to you. Are you tracking? Whatever. Same kind of thing. Like the perks aren't really the craziest thing on the crazy build because there's not that much diversity in what you're doing unless you're gonna go spear. I've seen people go spear crossbow. The thing. I don't know if it's good or not, but a lot of people do it just for fun, I guess. But really, the crazy build is to go multi-shot. It's just mainly just multi-shot. You have multi-shot and maybe a spear. And then what you can do, if you get spear proficiency multi-shot, is you can start the fight with a multi-shot and then swap to the spear and then keep stabbing and hope that you don't die by the time you swap to the spear. Or you can swap to the spear, and if they close the gap, you swap to the bow. Or if you're playing a team, realistically, you have one or the other. So if you're playing with a team, you just pick and choose between the two. That's kind of the crazy way to play. But realistically, you want to play the previous build I talked about, the standard build where you're just shooting people. You want to play your strengths. You're playing a ranger, you might as well play ranged. But you can grab multi-shot spear and be hilarious, and a crossbow. You can be just a psycho and just be a crossbow, spear, multi-shot kind of ranger. But actually, you can't multi-shot with a crossbow, so you wouldn't be able to do that. But there's options. So that's like the gist of the ranger stuff. Hopefully, this gives you a bunch of info to make your decisions on which way you want to play the ranger. Now, as far as gear and stuff, it really depends on what bow you prefer. You can go to the woodsman, and he'll often have the bows that you need. Most people that I've known who played ranger, they always preferred the longbow. But recurve bow is also decent. Survival bow, I've known a lot of people who don't like the survival bow. But it's an option. If you have a really good one, then maybe it's okay. But longbow will have the least the projectile drop at range, so you can shoot from further away and be more accurate with actual headshots. That's probably why everyone I knew preferred the longbow. You can also buy more hunting traps at the woodsman. As for gear, you're generally going to, as a ranger, speed is not as important, but it's still kind of important. You can buy gear here that gives agility and stuff and whatever. You're just going to buy leather gear, whatever, assuming you don't just find gear in raid, And then the other thing to keep in mind if you aren't aware is the tailor sometimes has regal gambesson, and this is going to be crazy heavy armor, but without that much move speed reduction. That's something to think about. Other than that, it's going to be like, what special stats do you want? So like, as a ranger, your agility is good. I've never actually tested if strength increases bow damage. I feel like it doesn't actually, but I don't know. You know what? I've never tested that over like the last 3 play tests. If I never actually tested it, but agility is good because you move fast and you shoot your bow faster. So that'll no matter what give you DPS. Basically anything that's just going to increase your damage and move speed is what you're after as a ranger. You don't need armor. Obviously, you don't need spell stuff. You just need agility, damage, attack speed, action speed. Move speed. Those types of things. Or interaction speed can be good too. Play on your strengths if it's percentage one or something. So once you actually get into a dungeon, into a raid, whatever you want to call it, generally the way you're going to play as a ranger, it depends on what you're doing. Are you, like I said, are you a solo who's ratting out trying to get money? If so, you're going to creep in the shadows, you're going to turn off torches and things, and you're going to only fight people when you have to fight people, and you're just going to keep your distance and only take favorable fights. Try to loot up, kill all the NPCs and stuff, get a bunch of loot, and then get out if possible. If you're playing as a more aggressive solo, then you're going to pick fights when you can. You'll kind of be a little bit more aggressive, but you're still going to be cautious because you're still a solo. If you're playing the solo dungeon, it's not as big of a deal. But if you're playing like the 3-mans as a solo, then it's going to be a little bit more of a big of a deal to be cautious. But generally as a ranger, the best thing you can do is to be aggressive, but not too aggressive. So like you want to be aggressive, but you don't want to move forward aggressive. So like you want to be holding the angle and not letting them approach you. You don't want to let them close gaps on you, but you want to be aggressive and not let them move. Don't let them cross hallways. Don't let them go where they want to go. And just pin them down basically is your goal as a ranger. Also, obviously, you're gonna have to get good with aim, hit your shots and things, get good at predicting people and stuff. But positioning wise, yeah, it's just mainly about pinning people down and not letting them get to you without getting punished for crossing that distance to get to you is your main objective. Now, in team play, it's mainly about supporting your team and also for weakening people before the fight. So if you can get a few shots on some people at the start of a fight, it makes it that much easier for the rest of your team to clean them up. So that's generally as a ranger. Ranger's almost supportive in team setting for most players. I mean, you can be aggressive, but generally, you know, you're going to be supporting your fighter, supporting your barbarian or something, depending on what team comp you're playing with. Other than that, you just got to go practice, you know, get used to your abilities, try out different ones, choose your preferred. I mean, quick shot's always a good one to use, so learn that first to make sure you get good with it. And then just get out there, try to land those headshots. Don't let people get close, and farm mobs. I mean, Ranger's the easiest class to kill the mobs with, because you can just shoot arrows in their heads from a distance and kill any mob in the game, basically, safely. So, as a beginner class, Ranger's going to be the best class in the game for you, if you're a beginner. Okay, so hopefully this helped you out. That's my build guides and advice, different skills and perks, what to know about each one and stuff. So hopefully it helped you out, and hopefully now you have a better idea of how to play Ranger in Dark and Darker. Also, if this video helped you out and you want to return the favor, all you gotta do to help me out is just go to this Steam page for this game that I'm making called Art Gallery Simulator, and then go down here and wishlist it. The link to this will be in the description of this video below the first paragraph. It's a game I'm working on where you get to run an art gallery. You start in the slums, you get middle class, eventually you own an art museum with admissions and things. It's going to be a really fun game once I finish it in March, probably April, realistically. So if you want to help me out, return the favor, just wishlist. You don't have to buy it. Wishlist just tells you when it comes out. I'd appreciate it a lot. If not, that's fine too, though. All right, that's all for this video, guys. Hopefully it helped you out. And now you hopefully know how to play Ranger better in Dark and Darker.